began working on these pieces predominantly a couple of years ago when I was really interested in trying to get underneath what it is that what informs desire about color specifically. My wife and I were shopping for some new colors for our house, and we were drawn to some colors but not drawn to others. And I found that very interesting. I wanted to know what was it that informed the desire for the colors. That was really interesting to me. What was underneath it? So I thought, what I want to do is draw together some pieces that showed that combination of color that wasn't particularly pleasing. I wanted to know what is it that informs desire about coolness or in color or choices. So when I originally started building these things, I would choose some of the most ridiculous colors I could get. Oranges, I'd paint orange onto a piece of wood, and I wanted to put it together with a really, like a candy apple green, for instance. Something that you wouldn't see in a domestic setting or in a contemporary color scheme. But I really started to enjoy putting these different pieces together, and it sort of carried on from there. I would paint the pieces first and then cut them out, so the pieces themselves aren't painted. Then I would assemble them in a way that I was trying to be very strict about my criteria. That was very simple. I didn't want to really follow what I thought was cool. I wanted to let the pieces sort of arrange themselves, and also to try to get under what it is that makes certain colors work together and not. And that's a lesson in a lifetime study to try and figure that one out. So after I would start building these pieces, eventually I came to a point where it was done. Like a piece was done at a certain point, and then I could let it go. I started interjecting other little pieces that would become more interesting. That's a spray paint color from Home Depot, for instance. And I wanted to sort of set the pieces off a little bit, give them a little bit of something that popped off the surface. I started doing things like interjecting the oranges onto the blacks, but also to the red and the blue. Complementary interactions starts to stimulate the eye a little bit. I started to get into those kinds of considerations, away from these earlier pieces, which were really just blocks of color, with the wood texture to make it a little bit more accessible. And moving them over to these more complex interactions with these colors intersecting in these pieces. And this piece here adds that element of nostalgia. As you can see, it has several layers of paint on it that various people desire to have in their environment at different periods in time. So whoever painted this piece of wood went to the store and said, I like that color. That color would be nice in our kitchen. And they changed it over the years. So that's what I'm interested in. What is it that informs that desire about the color choices? So a lot of these people, the pieces, that is the impetus for this work. That's where it starts.